the matter that pertains to lotteries. Who came to
Fresh matter.
an after notice manual. My lord, it got deleted. We have circulated mails for not to be deleted, but nevertheless got deleted. It's coming up on 20th of September. Would my lords please direct it not to be deleted on that date, at least? May I just pass the details of the...
No, just make sure that somebody, the email, advocate on record's name you make.
My lords, the email has been sent by advocate on record again, day before yesterday.
What's the name of the AOR?
My lords, it's Amir Arsiwala.
Yes.
Amir Arsiwala.
That's my apologies.
Please, my lords, I'm grateful.
My lords, your lordship said some of the chief secretaries of states which are defaulted on payments of pension and allowances tomorrow.
Yes.
Your lordships will also ask me to give a list of those chief secretary, those states which have actually complied. I've just passed it on. I've
So
just
we
passed
now
it on.
just 3 copies. Just 1 second.
For the defaulting states, there is also a request to appear online. My lords, number of applications have been filed, so I just thought I'll go mine.
So the Supreme Court bench led by Chief Justice of India, Mr. Chandrachud, has assembled. They are looking at the RG case. The CBI, remember, will be now submitting that status report to the CJI in a sealed envelope, as was being reported by our correspondent Ananya. We also will be getting more details about what really has led to the questioning, what really probably came out of the questioning of Dr. Sandeep Ghosh, who had just about entered the CBI offices right there where my colleague Arunima is standing by. Arunima, we had learned earlier that Dr. Sandeep Ghosh had also put out a plea before the court seeking freedom from arrest. What is happening to that plea, considering the case against him is kind of becoming watertight? You were earlier mentioning how the CBI could be looking at a custodial interrogation at the moment of Dr. Ghosh.
Yes, the indication seems to be that, today is day 7 of his questioning. It's not as if he's being called for about half an hour or 1 hour and allowed to go. Every day he's coming at about 10:30, 11 o'clock, going home around midnight. So for 12 hours, for 7 days continuously, if CBI is not finding the answers that it is seeking from the former principal, it looks like that the ground is being set for custodial interrogation. But we'll have to wait and see what the CBI tells the Supreme Court today. The Supreme Court is, the bench has assembled. We're just waiting for the case to be taken up. It will be in sealed cover, so one doesn't really know whether we will get to know the line of investigation that the CBI is taking. But I can tell you that there are 2 definitive lines that CBI is probing at the moment. One, Sanjay Roy, the main accused, in custody. The evidence that it has managed so far showing his alleged complicity. And second, the destruction of evidence trance. That's the second line of evidence investigation, I beg your pardon. Did destruction of evidence happen? Was it deliberate? Did somebody give instructions to dress up the scene of crime? Did somebody give instructions that the parents be kept away for 3 long hours? These are crucial questions. And if you destroy evidence at the scene of crime, you are basically allowing the culprits to run away. What is the apprehension of the family? That Sanjay Roy is just a scapegoat, that there were other people involved and those people are not coming to the front. So if additional evidence is destroyed, you can essentially end up saving the accused. So that will be interesting to note what the CBI tells the Supreme Court. As far as the destruction of evidence trance is concerned, Sandeep Ghosh is in the dock because of that charge.
Right. Arunima, stay on with us. Let's actually get in a word from Ananya as well as to what really is happening in the Supreme Court at the moment as the bench has assembled. They are looking at this particular case, Ananya, about the details that will be before us in a short while of the CBI status report. Any leads that you're getting over there? Ananya, if you're able to hear me.
Well, definitely. definitely, in fact, the Supreme Court is hearing urgent mentionings at this particular point of time, and soon, in just the next 1 or 2 minutes, it will be hearing, in fact, the matter with regards to the Arjikar Medical College. In fact, a clear update for our viewers that, advocate has mentioned a matter wherein the doctors at AIIMS Nagpur who were participating in this agitation are, in fact, being marked absent, and against that, they had knocked the doors of the Supreme Court. However, the topmost court of the country says if they are not joining the duty, they would definitely be marked absent. The hearing is likely to resume in the next 1 or 2 minutes as the Supreme Court concludes to hear the urgent mentionings in this particular matter, and very clearly and categorically agree at this particular point of time the Central Bureau of Investigation and the West Bengal Police both would be filing the status report before, in fact, the Supreme Court, and would be indicating how their investigation in this case has gone on. So very clearly and categorically at this particular point of time, all eyes are on the topmost court of the country, the bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, Dr. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud himself, that would be considering this particular matter. If I take you through the observations that were made last in the last hearing were that the country cannot wait for another rape and murder, and very clearly some action needs to be taken, and the Supreme Court had formed a national task force.
Absolutely. We will come to what the observation of the Chief Justice of India last time around were, Ananya, but what does it look like happening right now? Will stakeholders or representatives from the doctors and the West Bengal government, for that matter, of course there is Mr. Kapil Sibal looking at that case, be given that kind of a leeway to probably present their case, because the doctors had been agitating against this person, Dr. Sandeep Ghosh, and all of that right now is coming to light as, the skeleton stumbling out of a closet. It can be one case where a former deputy superintendent is levelling certain charges. That case is pending before the Kolkata High Court. All of that will be taken up by and by. But do you think the doctors will be given some sort of a platform before the court to also put in their point of view?
Well, definitely, that is something that only time can tell us as the hearing progresses in the day. And very clearly and categorically, this is a very, very crucial matter. The Supreme Court took a suo motu cognizance of it. In fact, the Calcutta High Court had transferred the investigation in this matter to the Central Bureau of Investigation after there were significant delays by the Kolkata police in this particular matter. And now, the Supreme Court also taking a suo motu cognizance, completely calling this not a case only of the murder and rape of a doctor at her workplace, but a matter concerning the women and people at their workplaces across the country, and that is something that the Supreme Court took a holistic view of and took the suo motu cognizance in this particular matter.
Right, Ananya, stay on with us. Arunima, I'd also request you to stay with us. We are dipping into the proceedings that are happening within the Supreme Courts. Let's take a look.
The wish of the doctor is correct, but having come from your lordships, an assurance that your lordships are looking into it, my lord, I think that should satisfy.
Malaja.
With the assurance of no adverse action, my lords.
Lords, we are absolutely, my lord, grateful to your lordships that lordships have intervened. Lords, we have not been heard, my lords, at all. Our grievances, my lord, are at the forefront because we are, my lord, facing the brunt of this, my lord, whatever is happening.
The reason why we constituted such a broad-based committee is we have specifically said that the committee shall engage with all stakeholders, including, that will include the resident doctors. So please assure them. Yes. Please assure them that the committee, one second, Mr. Ansari. Sorry. Please assure the resident doctors, they all are young doctors, that they will be heard by the...
We heard, my lord, and some representation...
But tell us one thing, we can hear you, Mr. Kamath. We hear you for half an hour. We are not the committee. Ultimately, you have to be heard by the committee.
Yes, what we were requesting, my lord, some, my lord's association, whatever your lordships choose, my lord, some representative from the Resident Doctors Association, if they can be a part of the committee.
Yes.
But their voice...
One second, Mr. Ansari.
I'm sorry, I'm not saying.
You see, please understand.
We leave it to your lordships, my lord.
Mr. Kamath, please understand. We have thought through this very carefully. If we start now asking for the representatives of various stakeholders to be a part of the committee, that becomes an impossible process because, the committee's work will then get dislocated. You know what happens. You have such an experience yourself. At the same time, we are conscious of the fact that the primary concerns of the doctors, the nurses, the paramedical staff, has to be taken into account by the members of the committee. For two things that on the committee, we have very senior women doctors on the committee. The doctors who are on the committee are people who have worked for a long time in their life as part of public health infrastructure. So therefore, what we have expected the committee to do is that the committee will hear these various stakeholders, namely the interns, the residents, the senior residents, representatives of the nurses, the other paramedical staff. So therefore, they are in a hospital, there are a huge number of stakeholders. The committee will ensure that it will hear representative.
Hold on, in fact, I have taken instructions. I represent about 30,000 doctors.
Please, and Mr. Kamath, please tell them that the committee will definitely give them a hearing. We'll reiterate that in our order today. We will certainly, Mr. Kamath, your point is well taken. We'll make it clear.
My lord.
Absolutely, Mr. Kamath, we are grateful to you actually for personally, because our hearts go out to all those people who have to go to public hospitals. So we will make an observation that the committee would hear all stakeholders, including the Resident Doctors Association. Of course, not 30,000 doctors, but a representative. Right. And an appointment can be given to them when the committee assembles, so that the committee can, because your stake is very high and your inputs are very valuable. So please assure the resident doctors that we were now passing an order that the committee will give them a representative voice in putting forth their grievances, their working conditions, so on and so forth.
Suggestions. Today and
suggestion.
And then call off their protest.
We will also say that.
I appear for the RG car.
Can I?
Mr. Ansari and then Mr.
Yes.
Lord, I appear for the Delhi Medical Association.
Yes.
Lord, we filed a writ petition in 2022, Lord, raising the same grievance.
Right.
This court says, as and when any incident happened, Lord, we are grateful to your Lordship. Lordship could show moto, otherwise we were contemplating to file. There is a judicial order there, any order, Lord, any incident happened, then you come to us, Lord. Lord, now, Lord, we are the association of 110 years old. As Mr. Kamath has said, Lord, there is a being a part of the committee.
Can we just suggest one thing?
Yes, my lord.
Because in such a large matter,
Yes.
we have to bring some order to the
My lord.
order to the order also, which we pass.
Please, Lord, sir.
If all of you who are intervening for various bodies
Yes,
can give on a slip of paper
yes,
name of the body
yes.
and whom you represent,
Very well.
we will put that in our order.
I understand.
So that your clients have that assurance that look, the Supreme Court is also factored in our
I understand, my lord. That will be very useful.
So
my lord.
then we will say that out of these, the committee may take an appropriate decision on engaging with the representative.
But all that we were saying, my lord, the committee constitute of a very respectable persons, my lord. Lordship has chosen them. But some representation from the associations, my lord, those who face day-to-day, my lord, problems. Making representation to the committee and being a part of the committee, my lord, would be a little, my lord, we have been hesitating this law. I'm sure, but Lordship thinks it appropriate. Lordship might take it, my lord.
I'll get a response from.
That would be very helpful.
I had made two more aspects, my lord, two more small aspects. Lordship has flagged, my lord, about 11 issues which the committee will take into account. Two more aspects, if your lordships can kindly consider that. One is, my lord, the distress call, my lord, we mentioned it day before yesterday. Lordship said it will be part of the order, my lord. I have seen, my lord, it is distress call system, my lord, which is available, my lord, on drop on a watch, on a mobile, my lord. That can also be, my lord, a part of it. Secondly, my lord, institutional FIR, my lord. What has been happening here, my lord, the parents has to go, the relatives has to go. There should be an institutional FIR within 2 hours of a cognizable offence, my lord. If that also comes to your lordship, part of the order, my lord. And finally, my lord, the fast tracking of, my lord, we have done cases 10 years back, my lord. The trial is still proceeding. Lord, in 2016, my lord, a person was murdered, a doctor was murdered inside the hospital, my lord, at a point blank range, my lord. Nothing happened. There was a widespread agitation. The chief minister said 50. What I'm saying, there are similar matters pending in this court. If a lordship expedite that.
To obviate, handing over slips, but we'll go about in a very systematic way.
Yes,
Mr. Devdatta Kamath is appearing for whom?
Instead of your lordships writing down, let us give it.
Can we just, it will be easier for us.
It would be easier. It doesn't look good also.
All right.
My lord, very kind, my lord, but
All right, what we are doing is, we are just circulating a sheet of paper. If you can all just, as we are going along with the matter, write it, so we'll examine that and we'll put your names down.
I had made a request
My lord.
Some SOP, the committee is looking into it. There is no SOP on the hours of the doctor.
Of course, we said that.
It is a specific
It's a mandate.
remit of the commission.
Kiran, one second.
And the slip will-
One of the points which, that one para where I say, this is a non-exhaustive list. It specifically says that they are made to work for 36 hours. And one more thing, we have said, we have referred to working conditions in general, which includes the work. So please assure the doctors, we are as concerned about them, that they have to work for 36 hours.
Yes.
All of us have also had family members, relatives. We have gone to public hospitals.
Yes.
I have slept on the floor of a public hospital when somebody in the family was not well. So we have gone through that. And you observe all of them working for 36 hours.
Lord, we would also
Lord,
not like, we would not like, my lord, a doctor who has not slept for 30 hours to treat us, my lord, because
May I just explain what happens in the hospitals? Because I have doctors in the family and also people studying in the medical colleges. What happens is that the senior, who are the third-year students of PG courses, they are the one who assign duty. You do 12 hours to 24 hours, and then thereafter you are given a rest for 2 to 3 hours. Again, you are called back on duty. The junior doctors are the one who prepare the discharge summary. And the discharge summary is prepared by them. So the workload is then again 2-3 hours. So it is almost 48 hours. It is not even 36 hours. So my humble submission is that you are neither in a physical state or a mental state at that stage to even resist if somebody is teasing you. I'm not even on the bigger sexual assault. I'm not on that because there are many incidents.
Shashikaranji, if you look at our order,
Yes.
Sorry, Ms. Kumudata Das, what, if you see our order,
Yes, Your Lordship.
if you see our order, we have in fact highlighted this very aspect, that there is a certain hierarchical nature of the workplace in a public hospital or any hospital. So when we have referred to that, and we have said because of the hierarchical nature, doctors, including junior doctors, are susceptible to harassment, not just sexual harassment, but different kinds of harassment.
Yes, Your Lordship. Yeah.
So we have specifically referred to this, but now that you have mentioned it, in a course of our order, in a brief order today, we will add to that as well. No difficulty. Your point is perfectly well taken. So please
My
don't
lord,
feel that
a
it's
small point to supplement that.
say,
Is that because
my
I
lord,
also
may I
come
just
from a
take a
family of
minute?
doctors, is that the counter to that, of course, is the fact that there are lots of peer-reviewed studies to say that continuity is important. Now, obviously, doctors can't be treated like this in light of that. So the committee should look into it and propose something
You
that
see, there is
has
another, I'll
adequate
tell you one thing.
safeguards.
I'll tell you one thing. We have got so many emails. I've been flooded with emails which I've been reading to the extent humanly possible. There's another viewpoint also that, look, if you have doctors only on duty for 8 hours, then the purpose is that the doctor must be able to see the evolution of the patient. So that patient is there overnight, then your duty hours may extend beyond 8 hours so that you see that what is the development in the case of the patient between the time you entered and the time you exited. But we are not going to make any comment on that. The committee will.
Your Lordship.
But for only one other
Certainly,
one thing is
48 hours of duty or 36 hours of duty is a little too aggressive.
is not really human. My lord, may I say I'm representing the KG Car Medical Junior Resident Doctors. They are still RG Car. And my lord, they are still.
By the way, Brother Justice Rishikesh Roy pointed out to me in another CB yesterday that you kept on saying car is car. So I said, well, I
We are
apologize.
forgetting one crucial thing.
So, my lord,
Can I speak? my lord?
can
We
I
are
just?
forgetting one crucial thing. All doctors, my lord, which your lordships have constituted in the committee, they have passed through this very phase. They are aware of the problems.
So, my lord, I'm just saying that they are still terrorized. They are still in fear. They are saying our senior residents are back at work. We'll give it to the Registrar General in a sealed cover, the names of the people. There are about 70 junior residents and they are interns. And they are still feeling terrorized. They are threatened. They are actually being targeted in the hospital.
But terrorized by whom? Because this is a serious thing. And they
Yes.
in the RG or medical hospital.
CISF is already there now.
What is their
But
grievance?
instead of, my lord, giving them here, let them be given to me. I'll ensure, my lord, CISF to do the needful. My lord.
Yes,
Be better.
but we have to have their names in sealed cover because those who've spoken up are feeling targeted already. And they have a timeline of videos they have taken.
Targeted by whom? Don't give us names, but targeted broad
By
by
officials, my lords, by goons. I am for
By-
the 20,000 doctors
by-
in the, Kolkata, my lords.
But
And
your lordship sees the
some of,
report,
many of them work in RGK.
possibly a hint of.
By members of the administration, by people who are in the hospital.
All right,
and
we'll take note of that.
Yes.
There is one submission, Your Lordship. There's a last submission, Your Lordship, I want to make. Can we have a compensation distress fund for the victims and the deceased of the family created by the state, so that when at the time of the crisis of this kind of situation, they can be also get a compensation system like what we have done in the Nirbhaya case, Your Lordship.
All right, let's just see the status report for a moment. We'll just see the status.
But your lordship,
Just give us one moment.
with your lordship permission, may I just?
1 second.
If
We'll have to
lordship
put it.
permits us, then should we post on the filing, e-filing, the suggestions or the pointers that we have, because it is anonymity which the resident doctors and interns from different places they are requesting, because the direct impact is on them. And their mental state is terrible. There is also a survey report of National Medical Council which says that 28%.
Point taken. There should be a portal where suggestions can be given to the committee, even anonymously, without disclosure of identity.
Yes, Your Lord.
Point well taken. Noted.
Lords, after the status report, could we have 1 minute on the SIT, my lords? We are representing 5 associations of doctors. And the difficulty is that there is an institutional compromise with regard to the financial regularities and the rape. Here's why. There were the same gentleman who was the head of Dr. Shundip Ghosh, who was head of this RG Core Medical College, also, for example, commissioned, asked for CCTV cameras for 14 lakhs to be rented. Now, had he bought those CCTV cameras, they would have been there. It would have been a deterrent, and there would have been better accountability. An SIT 2 days ago was, and I have the notification here, my lords. An SIT was set up by the West Bengal government. To look into these irregularities by the same person, and that only constitutes officials that are under the control of the West Bengal government.
But would your lordship consider having the status report?
Earlier form
It is so powerful that
is the earlier form.
That my lords, he's been referred.
All this.
He's been
Lordship,
referred. Please.
In the nurse's case,
Please,
he was
please.
the IG.
Your lordships, my lord, consider the report first, my lord.
All right.
That might, my lord.
My lords,
keep,
with regard to the SIT, just to
Just 1
close that
second.
loop.
Let's see the report,
Yes,
and then we will come back to you on the SIT.
Yes, my lord.
We've also filed our report.
SP, Your Honor, I'm Dr. Rajiv Yoshi calling from
Just 1
Pune.
second. Everybody can just hold their patience for 2 minutes. Let's quickly run through the two status reports.
The state's report was not called for, but they have, my lord, asked, your lordships may, my lord, it's entirely your
It's been
lordship.
called for in the order. Why did my learned friend say that?
Order.
I thought we had asked for the.
Yes, of course.
The order.
Page 10, my lord, raise please, my lord, is.
In
Page
fact-
10 of yours.
In fact,
Mine.
Malats, I might, if your lordship will give me a minute, Malats, I don't want to interfere.
We'll just quickly run through this, then come back to you in a moment, so that we
Very
go step by
Very
step.
well.
10 para 7, Lord, before that, we have narrated the facts, etc., which broadly your lordships are aware, so I'm not, and I'm obviously not reading, my lord, your lordships may read from para 7. So date and time may kindly be, my lord, taken note of. My lord, eventually we have, this is very, very preliminary finding, but we have recorded some, flagged some issues.
We just
I'm just. Ask if they have a spare copy.
It's reading.
Everyone.
It's only for the court.
The bench that is being headed by the Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, is currently looking at the status report that's been filed by the CBI. Remember, the CBI submitted the status report of the RG Kaur rape and murder case, as was advised by the Supreme Court. There have been a series of investigations that have happened. Currently, what is happening by the CBI is that there is a questioning that's on of Dr. Sandeep Ghosh, the former principal of RG Kaur Medical College and Hospital. And right now, we're also being told how the Council of the Doctors has pointed out irregularities by Dr. Ghosh as he presided over the chair of the principal of RG Kaur, and how there are severe lapses. Perpetrators are still at large. My colleague Ananya will take us through all the details of what exactly is happening in the Apex Court as the CJI and the other councils are currently looking at the status report that's been filed by the CBI. Yes, Ananya. We'll go back to Ananya in just a bit, but remember, there has been an important aspect that's been pointed by the Council of RG Kaur, by the council who's representing the doctors. There was also an appeal that was made how there needs to be an ample representation of the doctors because they have a lot of grievances. The CJI himself assured that the National Task Force, the committee that has been set up, will be giving them a representative voice. But one crucial aspect that's come out of this hearing so far, and we are speaking even as the Chief Justice of India and the other magistrates are currently looking at the status report by the CBI, is that the Council of the Doctors has pointed out severe irregularities by Dr. Sandeep Ghosh as he was the principal of RG Kaur Medical College and Hospital. There was a mention of CCTV cameras being hired on rent as opposed to being bought. And that was the reason also that probably was something that had led to the crime, that unavailability of CCTV cameras. No cameras, remember, in that seminar hall where the crime was committed. My colleague Ananya is back with us on the broadcast. Ananya, I was talking to the viewers about how the Council of the Doctors has raised a very, very pertinent point, and this time the direction of this particular case will have fingers pointed at Dr. Sandeep Ghosh, because his role as the then principal of RG Kaur is becoming crucial, and that also will be looked at by the Chief Justice of India and the bench.
Well, definitely, it has been pointed out in fact, the bench by the Chief Justice of India, Dr. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, that he had rented those CCTV cameras. Had those CCTV cameras been bought, then the story could have been different. There could have been much more evidence that could have been available. But the clear and the bigger submission that comes to light today, Griha, is, and I have, for the benefit of our viewers, I would like to also highlight that particular point where Senior Advocate Geeta Luthra was appearing for the resident doctors of the RG Kaur Medical College, has stated that still these doctors who are still staying, the resident doctors who are still at the Arjikar Medical College are being threatened. They are being, targeted by the authorities there inside the Arjikar Medical College, and that is something that is concerning. When the Chief Justice of India tried to ask as to who are these people who are threatening, in fact, these resident doctors, were pointed out by Senior Advocate Aprajita Singh and also, Senior Advocate Geeta Luthra, that these are the administration in the Arjikar Medical College. These are the people in the Arjikar Medical College who are targeting these resident doctors, and that is something that is a matter of concern, to which the Solicitor General of India, Mr. Tushar Mehta, came in to say that these names and the names of these resident doctors could be actually given to him, and he can ask the central forces to actually deploy more security to these resident doctors and to have a particular communication with them as to who are the people who are actually threatening these resident doctors there. Because remember, on the last occasion it was pointed out that there were threats to the resident doctors due to which many of them had left the Arjikar Medical College and went back to their homes, and that is something that is a matter of concern that was raised before. In fact, the bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, the hearing still continues, and the court is still considering the status report that has been filed by the Central Bureau of Investigation and also by the state of West Bengal with regards to the investigation that have been carried out by both of these agencies, whether it's the Kolkata police, which would be looking into the vandalism issue, while the CBI is looking into the main case, the rape and the murder of that young woman, the young resident doctor who lost her life, in that unfortunate
Absolutely.
incident.
Ananya, on that very point about the resident doctor still being threatened, the point that was made by the counsel of the resident doctor, let me take that very point to my colleague Arunima, who is also with us on the broadcast. Arunima, now that the central forces have taken over the security of Arjikar, there has been enough ground that there will be stakeholders, there will be doctors who would be questioned with obviously confidentiality by these forces, by the CISF, CRPF for that matter. This was a very, very crucial point that was raised, that even as there is an investigation that is currently on, the resident doctors are still being threatened by the authorities of Arjikar. What do you see happening from here on?
See, the resident doctors, the junior doctors, the medical students, the interns, the entire medical fraternity at Arjikar, they have been feeling threatened even after Sandeep Ghosh was removed, because they thought there was a coterie at work, a coterie which supported him, a coterie that was watching him. A doctor, in fact, came on camera to tell me that we were discouraged from even participating in the protest when the body was discovered, and we were discussing, we were all agitated and we thought we must hit the street. The members of this coterie came and dissuaded us from doing the same. Combined with the fact that the principal who was given the charge was nowhere to be seen. And yesterday when these doctors took out a march from the CGO complex to the Swasthya Bhavan here in Salt Lake, they made this point to us again and again, that where is that principal who's supposed to have been taken charge after Sandeep Ghosh? Arjikar is actually running without any administration in place. So now that the Mamata Banerjee government has accepted the demands of the students here, and a new head of the administration has been appointed, it remains to be seen if the students feel a little more confident. I think at this stage, more than day-to-day administration of their hospital, they are wanting Supreme Court to give some indication about justice for the deceased. It's only then that they will feel confident of going back to work.
Absolutely. Arunima and Ananya, I request you to stay on with us. Thank you so much for sharing in all these crucial details. We have our eyes on the Supreme Court, which is currently looking at that status report that's been filed by the Central Bureau